All right, we got lots of parts, so it's probably time to get to work on the 1020, and we're gonna get started right after this. Welcome back. If you haven't seen my videos before, I'm Rusty Oliver Man, but I find myself working on tractors of all colors. And we were working on this 1020 John Deere, trying to put it back to power steering, which it has not been for like 40 years, because it messed up when it was new, and apparently the dealer switched her back to manual steering. Now, from the comments, it's obvious that some people still don't understand, and they think that I'm going to turn this into power steering, and I'm not. This is going in the garbage pile. This is in no way power steering. It can never be, and it never will be. This is a manual steering box. It's totally different. We're going to use this brand new power steering valve, and that is going to take the place of this. In previous episodes, we were able to extricate the area and make sure and verify that there indeed was a passage for the return oil to go. Now, whilst cleaning last night, I did notice this passage, and I don't know if that one goes back in there, but we're not taking that chance. We're going to have that other line hooked up just so that the return oil can go away, because if it didn't, something bad would probably happen eventually. And you see here, there is the passage with the nice cutout, so it may indeed capture that other hole, and maybe it's not even necessary, but I want to be sure that we're not going to have issues. So that's how we're operating here. I have not checked to see which I don't know where that went, but if I had my little piece of wire, I could potentially shove it down in that other hole and see where it goes, but it doesn't really matter. We're going out the side, and that's fine. And I spent last night cleaning this all up, and we should be ready to put that together. I might give it one more good cleaning before we do that. I painted that valve because it came as a goofy color, and this is supposed to be black of all things to match the dash. And so when we do that, we should be ready to just bolt her down, and then that'll be step one of our process. We'll have that in there, and we go on our way. I got a new steering wheel, and I got a new center cap. I forgot to get the nut, so I called the Deere store and ordered a nut and a lock washer, like it shows in the parts book. So that'll be several days before it gets here, but I don't foresee in this video that we're going to get, I know we're not going to get to where it could be driven anyway, because I still don't have everything. I don't have the new side cover. It's coming in the mail, as well as there was a trim piece that goes around that steering column. I got him that, because my goal here is when we're done, nobody's going to look at this and say somebody just changed all that stuff, other than the fact that it's going to be shinier. They'll look at the tractor and not realize that anything was done to it. So that's what we're after. This could use a little more cleaning, but we got time on that. We can put the top thing down, and that'll help keep weather out of it if something happens. I'm afraid our nice sunshiny weather is going to go away, so we need to get this zipped up again as quick as possible. I did manage to get, I mean, just about everything I need. I'm hoping this is the right size, that we can fiddle it in there somehow, and that'll give our pressure without modifying anything. And then I decided we're just going to compression into that return line. I got to get a fitting to go from this to, I want to go to JIC. The only thing I could get in this fitting was pipe thread, or find easily, so I'll get an adapter that screws into that, and then I can have my choices, I'm sure, of what I want to get, so that it matches up with a fitting like this, because this is the fitting that is going to go in that cover. It also is the same fitting that goes in the steering box. But we will get this to happen some way or another. That is a guarantee. Yeah. So, step one, like I said, it's going to be just bolting that steering box physically in place. So let me clean that off one more time, and then we'll grease up this just a slight bit and put her down. But it should be right. That should be the right gasket. Everything is looking like it's coming together. And isn't that nice when a plan actually comes together the way that you want it to? So as long as when we're done, we have power steering, then we will be super duper happy. What's that I hear? Why, it's our old pal, Brake Clean. Yay! We love Brake Clean. Not only does it eat off dirt and grime, but also paint and all your happiness. So, sure. Now, I don't think that this gasket, it doesn't really matter. I don't think it's directional in any way. But I really need that to be dry now. Yeah, it's pretty well dry. I'm gonna grease the old gasket up here. And by grease, I mean a very, 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 very thin layer of number 2 Permatex. This shouldn't be under any pressure, so it's not gonna, that's not gonna be an issue for us. But I don't like things dripping or leaking. So a little bit of helper, and I mean a little bit, just barely enough to discolor it, is going to help it. Very, very thin layer. Mainly just to help stuff stay where it is while I maneuver my stuff. All right. Look out. It's coming down. I'm calling timber. Come on. Uh-oh. That's not what we want to hear right away, is it? Well, let me put some bolts in here. I think it's gonna go. It's just acting like it's not. There. As long as our bolt holes are lined up. I thought maybe the dash was hitting it, but I don't think so. I think we're good. I bet what was happening was, and we need to verify that before we tighten her up for keeps, but I bet that little yoke inside, not really yoke, you'll see what I'm talking about, I bet it wasn't lining up perfectly, and then it did. So let me grab you here in a minute, and we'll make that happen. I know what I'm saying, even if you don't understand, you know, because a lot of what I say is nonsense. I don't remember if, are these the bolts for here? We're gonna have to table that. Let's go over here and make sure that, okay, so that is in there. However, it's not lining up that hole. We're gonna have to screw it up or down one way or the other to get it to line up. I'm not worried about that. That'll be fine. I'd rather bolt it up first and then do that, just so that everything's solid and doesn't move, and I can check what needs to be done. So we're going to proceed with this, which is basically, I mean, pretty well done. See how nice that fits in there? Then there is in fact a cover that I got that goes over that. So I'm not sure how that bolts on. If I take out some of these Allen screws and that is the bolts for the cover, can't remember. I guess I could look at my tractor, but if he doesn't use the cover, I guess we won't use the cover. I'll throw it away. But anyway, I need to get these two bolts to line up. Okay, let's bolt this down solid, and then we'll worry about what we're gonna do with this. Those bolt holes aren't lining up perfectly, but that might be something I can tweak on a little bit and make her go. But maybe it'll go into shape when I get the bottom ones done. And then maybe again it won't. Let's start with the hard to get to ones in the back. Well, we're coming along. The trick to this is to throw all your tools on the ground, because, you know, why not? I'm not seeing that these are going to line up very good, and I don't understand why. I mean, there is no possible way that the reason could be because this is made in a foreign land. I mean, that couldn't be the reason, right? It looks so perfectly centered. It's just that the bolt holes don't line up at all. All right, so that's a potential issue, but we can do a workaround on that. You know, maybe I can drill a little hole and line this up and use a smaller bolt and get that where it needs to be, because I don't think there's any way I'm going to get that pulled where it has to. It looks like it's just too far off. Plus, the rest of this dash is pretty well perfectly aligned. I don't think yeah, that ain't gonna work. So before we're done, I think what I'm gonna do is try to drill like a 1/4 inch hole next to that one and then bolt this to that, and I think it'll be fine. That for some reason does not line up, but if that is the only problem we're having, I'll be okay, because that is a minimal problem. Let's put this on there for a minute. We should probably wait to put her down tight till we know where everything's gonna fall. But I need it on there now to screw that down to where I can get that pin in, and then we'll be good to go. I think I gotta get this to where I can put that pin in. And I just broke the camera mount, so that's sweet. So that probably means I'm gonna have to stop, because what am I gonna do with no camera mount? Well, looks like I broke the whole thing, like all the way, not even just partly. So this is total destruction. I mean, what am I supposed to do here? I will have to, I guess, go in the house here and come up with some better mounting for you, because right now that's the best view I can give you, because I ain't got no movement anymore of my camera. You can hear the old valve a sucking, and I can see the piece coming into view that I need. So do the smart thing and stick your finger in the hole. That's real smart, isn't it? Oh, cool. It puked all out of there, so we know that's working. It just keeps getting better and better. I'm pumped though. The oil came out of both holes on the valve while we were messing with it, so that means that we are pretty well in the right place. Now, if only we could get that to jump in there. We don't want to mess that up because that actually, I didn't use it correctly, but there is a threaded hole in that pin. I was able to pull it out by hand, and I would have thought that I could push it in by hand. Holy shite, friends. What I just went through to get that pin to go in there was miserable. I bet it was over an hour. I tried every which way. Couldn't get it to go. Then I questioned, well, maybe the hole wasn't made right or it wasn't the right size. And fooled and fooled and fooled with it. And finally I screwed it where it came all the way down in the open where I could kind of see it. And all I did was just cock it slightly differently and pull it up there, and the pin went right in. So when it's in that fork, it doesn't feel like it can move at all side to side, but apparently it can do it by just a hair, and that was all it took. But I worked forever trying to get that to go in there. You see, it's just a pin that you push the pin to hold the two pieces together, and then it's got a little 1/4-inch bolt to retain that plate, and that just keeps the pin from floating out. But the pin is your mechanical connection between the steering box and, wow, yeah. So we're good till there. We got steering box hooked up. I got that fitting screwed in there, but I'll probably take it out with me to town to get hose made, because I found that having a visual is easier for them. But what I'm pumped about is while I was turning the wheel, the oil did come out of this hole. So that shows me that definitely the return oil will come out of that hole, and it's going to work. So next, I think, interesting that it dripped there again. We need to figure out what that is, you know. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take that line loose and see if I can get the T snaked in there. We'll have to do the other cutting line. I'm going to wait, I think. I'll have to drain the oil out of this eventually. I got to try to figure out how to get you in places now, because if you recall, a while ago I broke the camera mount, and it took me a little bit of creativity to get it to go. Okay, so I need another one of these because they're both 7/8. Let's see if I can get this to come loose. Jeez. Ah, dang it. Well, strike one. Let's try this one. God bless America, land that I love. Okay. Well, we're not having any good luck. That's fine. That's fine. How are we going to do this? Well, that's worse. We want this one to go this way. We want that one to go that way. Try to squeeze the wrenches together in our hand. There. Just had to get a good bite on it. That one's loose. Now let's think about this and try to do the same thing to this side. There we go. Okay, it was just a matter of getting it a little bit. I did bring a bucket somewhere to put under here to catch whatever decides that it doesn't want to play, because this is going to be a interesting affair. Of course, now I'm having, for some reason, I'm having trouble. Why am I having trouble? Is that nut not turning on the, there? It wasn't turning on the tube. I thought it was, but it wasn't. See, the whole point of what I'm doing here is trying not to modify stuff too awful much. And I think I got her licked in that department as far as figuring out how to do that. I just need to put that plan into practice now, you know. It's gonna leak when I do this, but it shouldn't leak a whole lot because this is the pressure side. So you wouldn't think that it would do much. I'm hoping there's enough clearance here to accept that T, and I can get it wedged in there without a lot of modification. I'm probably gonna have to take the clamp loose though back here in a second, get it to do what I want it to do, because the T is wider than what we got here. Come on, baby. See, if I do it right, I'll get oil all over myself, and then it'll just be fantastic. Alright, that line's loose, so that'll let me do what I want. Alright, now if life smiles on me, I'll be able to get this put in there, and hopefully I got enough room to make that go in there. If I get that line pushed back slightly back here in the back, I think I'll be able to do it. There, I think we're getting like what I got in my mind. It took up the slack somewhere. I hope that's not a... There we go. I had a fear for a minute that I made him boo-boo, but I think I got it. Very close. This one. I need to turn it down a little bit so that I have room to do my necessary work. Well, it's gonna leak out of that, I guess, the whole time. That's okay though. We'll get that sorted out when we finish it for good. But for now, we're on the right path, friends. Very much so, the right path. And I couldn't be more pumped, to be honest with you. Everything is still loose enough, so it's not like it's in a worse shape than it was before. It almost looks like there used to be a clamp here at one time in its life, but yeah, that's not going to be now. So with that, I should be able to technically measure what I need for the pressure hose along here, and then we'll saw into that. I'm trying to debate how I want to do that to get that other one off of there, or to get that, you know what I'm saying. I could take them out of the clamp, I think, and then take the mini tubing cutter, hopefully, and cut that through. I hate to take it out of the back of the tractor, but if I got to, I got to. But anyway, we're on our way to making this project actually work, and that's pretty cool. We're gonna have that return system apart anyway, because I want to replace the hose that goes up there from that tube that actually bypasses where the cooler would be on the bigger tractor. has a rubber hose on each end. So if I get that, then that will do what we want to do. And then that would also give us room that we need to work in there and saw out whatever we need. But yeah, we're gonna put this in back there. And then we will have two places where we can tee in pressure and return, and we won't have really heavily modified it. Putting that compression fitting in will be a modification, but basically it'll all look pretty good like it should. I got the gasket. I'm just waiting on that side cover, and it'll be ready to go on. And then we're gonna make her happen, you know. I'm tempted to just wait to get that line made. Part of me wants to do it today, but another part of me wants to wait until I got the side cover to make sure that I can get everything out of where it needs to be. However, this tractor not having a foot throttle provides me with slightly more room here than it did on mine, because on mine I had a lot of trouble getting everything to sit in there like I wanted. So, but we got our pressure, we got our return port, and as soon as we get this rigged up down here, we'll have that made. And I think we're in the right track, friends. I mean, that's how you got to do her, you know. I'll make some marks on that line and try to get that cut out of there. Should be able to tell from this about how deep we want to go. Yeah, you know, we could go in there quite a ways, really, the way it looks. But probably about mark it till here and cut out about, that's not quite an inch maybe, or an inch of material is what we want to cut out of the line. And then that'll put us in the right frame of mind there. See, there we go. Goes like that. And yeah, I think we'll get her. I think we're gonna make this happen. So yeah, I might go after a while and see if the hose shop, what they got on hand, because if they don't have what I need, then I'm gonna have to go to the specialty hose shop, because I think I'm gonna have to have like 1/4 inch line, no bigger than 3/8, because I don't think I'll be able to physically get that all in there. The original had a steel line to that, and I don't have that now, so I have to use a hose. But my fitting is gonna, you know, potentially interfere. I might have to see if I can get that as a 45-degree fitting, you know, and scrap the original to be able to make it work. We'll just see what happens. But I think if I make the hose straight, I think that'll provide me the most for my buck. Unless I would get them to put a 45 on that. That would kick it out a little bit. I do have room here for that. So that might be what I do. And then we'll just make it long enough that I can take it down and tie it to the wad of lines, and it should be tucked up out of the way, and everything works great. So we're gonna leave this one here, and I'll bring you back sometime in the next one. And as always, thank you for watching.